Hi everybody, thanks so much for joining me today for helping your hashtags publicity via social media. This presentation was originally presented at the Leadership Connection at the end of 2016, so we wanted to offer it as a webcast, which we are also recording to post in the All Chapter Officers work group, so those who were not able to attend would be able to hear the information that was presented on this topic. Before we get started, I just wanted to point out that you can post your questions or comments using the control panel located in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. One thing that's nice about social media is that it lets any size business have a presence on the other side of the world. So really treating your chapter like a business allows you to connect with members and potential members who are not in your immediate vicinity. And the whole concept behind a brand awareness on social media is to help continually generate trust and awareness. So as people learn to trust you more and to trust your message and what you are saying to the public world, you will also have awareness generated for you, meaning more people will be likely to accept the invitation when it arrives in their inbox, or they will seek out membership because they understand what your chapter is about and what you are representing. So we're going to talk about using these concepts today. Really, social media is to help generate awareness of your chapter to the public world. So not necessarily member communications, although it can be used for that, but really using it as a means to generate awareness and trust about your chapter's brand. So we're going to be focusing on a few of the most popular social media sites that you see here on the screen. These are their logos. We will have time to get into STTI's specific pages on each of these. So if you have questions or if you want to share ideas of what your chapter has done in this area, please feel free to do that as well. So we are going to start with YouTube, which you see the link there on the screen. Just to give you a little bit of background in terms of who is using the site, right now, one thing that I think is interesting, YouTube is predominantly males who are using it. One of the few sites where it's not as even or it's not as female heavy. More male users are using it than anyone else. And the largest percentage in terms of age are those from 25 to 44, making up almost half of the users. What I think is nice in terms of your chapter is it lets you share video without taking up space on your website. So some things that I have seen chapters record and post on their chapter website, snippets from events. You can even interview people if you want to have a set of questions that you're going to ask various individuals and go into a quiet space, even just using your iPhone to record that information. I've seen a welcome message from the president, which looks really nice on the site as well, and member testimonials during induction or during orientation. So kind of why did you join our chapter, why did you join the organization, recording that and uploading it to YouTube. So again, it's really more of a video storage site. And I'm going to open up STTI's YouTube account. Another idea that I saw, a chapter was doing a contest and they actually drew the winner. They put all the names in the hat and they drew the winner live and posted that video to their chapter website. So STTI's channel on YouTube is called STTI Headquarters. So even if you do not use YouTube to put your own chapter videos on the site, you can actually come to STTI's headquarter channel on YouTube and take the code from those videos to put them on your site. So if you click on the Videos tab, it will show you every single video that has been recorded. You can kind of browse through them to see what videos you might like to use yourself or what you might like to share with somebody else. One that's really good that I think is pretty popular is this video about why you should join the organization. And this is actually embedded on every single chapter website within the circle. I'm opening up one of the sites now so I can show you what that looks like. On the How to Join page of every chapter website is this Join STTI video. So the way that I was able to put this video here is from the YouTube page that you see open on the screen. There is this button that says Share. So you can send a direct link to this page, or if you click on Embed, you can actually embed the video on a website. So if you recorded a welcome message from the president and you wanted to put it on the homepage of your chapter website, you could take this embed code and copy and paste that onto your chapter website. And so it actually saves the video on YouTube, so all of the space is being taken up on YouTube. And so instead of having to actually upload it onto your chapter website, which then sometimes it can make your site a little bit slower, you're actually saving it on YouTube and then taking that code and copying and pasting it over to your chapter website. So even if you never actually upload your own video, there are plenty of videos on STTI headquarters account that you can copy and paste and use however you'd like. And if you just even look in browsing the related videos, you can see here on the right-hand side there are several chapters who have posted various things, several members. Someone did a Why I Belong to Sigma video and posted that to YouTube. So those are the types of things that you can be thinking about of what videos might we be able to record and share with our membership. The next major site, probably one of the most popular for chapters, is Facebook. This is definitely the most widely used site. You can see there are 1.6 billion active users. It's fairly split between female and male users. It's just kind of popular across the board. And then we have about 65% of people from age 18 to 49 make up the largest population, but each of the age segments are growing in terms of the number of people who are using the site to stay connected. So you have a really large volume of people who are on Facebook just on their day-to-day business. So as you probably know, people use Facebook to stay connected with their friends and family, to discover what's going on in the world, and to share or express what matters to them. The way that it works, if you are thinking about having a chapter presence, first you start with your individual profile. So as an individual, you have a profile, you are in control of all of your privacy settings, who can see what information about you. And then those individuals can then manage pages or groups for organizations. So just to tell you a little bit more about each of those areas, I get a lot of questions from chapters about, do I need to have a group? Do I need to have a page? Or what's the best thing when we're talking about Facebook? So just starting at the individual profile level, as I mentioned, you do have to have a personal profile first. This is non-commercial space. This is all personal information, again, for you to choose how you want to interact with other people. So you can have customized privacy groups, so these people can see my photos, but these people cannot. Everyone knows somebody who they say, I'd really rather that person not see my photos. You can even be that specific to say, I do not want this individual to see my photos only. Your audience are people you have indicated as a friend through friend requests. Some can be open to the public. Me personally, I don't have anything on my profile open to the public, and you can even make it so that other people can't find you in a search. So if you're just setting it up because you want to manage the chapter presence and you don't really want a personal connection with other people, again, that's all set up by you. In terms of communication, you will receive a notification when someone interacts with you or something you've done. So if someone has posted to your profile, if they have commented on something that you posted, or if they tag you in a photo or their own status, all of that's going to generate a notification to you. You can also set it so that you get an email if you'd like. I use Facebook so much for work and for my social life that I turned off my emails, so just when I sign in, I see my notifications there, and I can see them racking up, but I don't have the emails sent to me to tell me about those types of things. So again, that's just something that's set by you personally, so you determine the frequency that you hear from the platform. So here's a picture of my individual profile. So anyone who is not friends with me wouldn't be able to see any of my posts, and I believe I have it set to where they can maybe see my profile picture, but they couldn't interact with it in any way. And you can see here that I have shared recently one of Sigma Theta Tau's posts is one of my most recent posts on the page there. And then the next area that you have are groups. So this is a private space where you can keep in touch with people by sharing updates, photos, or documents. So you do have a public setting, but this groups really allows for more privacy. So it lets you determine who can find you. Maybe you have to approve people into the group in terms of who can join. Same thing about communication. You receive notifications by default when any member posts to the group. So your group members can post on the wall and communicate with each other. For you as a chapter, when you might use a group, it's really set up to be successful for small subsets of your membership who need that private interaction. So I've seen some chapter board of directors, they want a space where they can only the board is communicating with each other, only the board is accessing this group and joining it, so that they can have conversations in between meetings in a place almost like a workspace. Maybe you want to have one for a specific induction class, or if you have a communication or a publicity committee who wants their own space to work, groups are really great for that. This also works out well for event attendees if you wanted to put a group together for a specific event so that you can invite people to join that group and you'll post information as that event approaches. It's really not meant to be a place for your chapter overall, because again, the whole point of social media is building awareness and trust, and if it's a secret or private group, then non-members can't see any of that information. So it kind of defeats the purpose to have your chapter in a group. Really, it's meant for small subsets who, again, need that private interaction. Which then brings us to pages, which is one of the most popular ways for a chapter to be on Facebook. Your privacy, the page information and posts are public and generally available to everyone on Facebook. So again, these would be This would be the place to talk about what's your chapter working on, what are your members doing, what events are coming up, what type of recruitment events are coming up if you're interested in joining, things that are open to the public and just generally that you want to share with the entire nursing community, not just members of your chapter. Anyone can like a page to connect with it and get newsfeed updates. There is no limit to how many people can like a page. For communication, people who manage a page can share posts and they will receive notification anytime there is any type of interaction. So at headquarters, there are several administrators for the Facebook group, and all of us receive notification whenever there is a post or a question or a message that comes through, so that we can all, we know how to divide the work to make sure that questions are answered in a timely manner. So I'm going to open up STTI's Facebook page. That's just a screenshot that you see there. When I am just signed into Facebook on my personal account, as I mentioned, I can see all of my notifications up here at the top. It created a shortcut for me to the STTI page because I visit it so frequently, but I also do get the notifications in my personal Facebook to let me know that something is happening with STTI specifically. So this is kind of what the administrative side looks like for a Facebook page. Kaylee Bennett, who manages our entire STTI presence on social media, has some really good tips, especially when you're talking about social media. Something with a picture does much better than just text. So anytime you can include an image with your post, that is going to help it to be more visible for more people to actually take the time to read it and share it on their own page. You also have the option to boost your post. I'll click on this, but I won't actually charge anything. But it's pretty neat. You can actually target people specifically. So if you wanted, if you have a recruitment event coming up and you wanted to target people in your immediate vicinity, you can target those people so that there's a higher likelihood that they would actually see your post. All of these social media sites have a pretty advanced algorithm in terms of who actually sees content that you post. So even though I am a member of, or I follow this page, I don't see every single post in my news feed. So I have to make an effort to actually come to the page to check it out more regularly. So it's nice that you can boost it a little bit, and you can see that these amounts are pretty small. If your total budget's $5, then you can spend $5 and it will target those additional people to help boost it in that specific area. Cancel that. You can also see other people who have commented on the page. A lot of people saying who they were invited. Thanks for the invitation. Can't wait for the ceremony. So I can see that information here from the visitors. I can also see how many people my last post reached. Keep scrolling down and see all of the content here on the page. One thing that I would recommend for your chapter is to give the title of any of your social media groups something that's very easy to find when people are searching for you. So something like Delta Xi chapter of STTI. We want to lead with the chapter name because it's the chapter, and STTI is nice and short. I've seen some that are really difficult to find if the person doesn't have the direct link, because it's Delta Xi chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International, Kent State University School of Nursing, which is a really long title, and sometimes you have to search for the entire title in order to be able to find the page. So keeping it short and sweet is going to make it much easier for potential members to find you. Are there any questions about YouTube or Facebook before we keep moving on? Great. The next area that I wanted to talk to you about is Twitter. I'd say for STTI chapters, this is the second most popular social media platform. I do see a lot of chapters who do take advantage of Twitter. To share some more statistics with you, you can see, again, it's a pretty even split in terms of female and male users. Most of the people using Twitter right now are between the ages of 18 and 49. That makes up almost 60% of people there. And this is really their tagline is start telling your story. And posts have to be 140 characters or less. So you can see here my bullet, what does 140 characters look like? It isn't much, especially if you share a complete hyperlink with followers. So that bullet point is exactly 140 characters. So it's very short, which forces you to share only the most important aspects of your message. Your profile here can be for an individual or an organization. So you don't have to create a personal profile first the way that you do on Facebook. If you have heard any of our recent communication presentations, you'll know that the human attention span is shrinking. It's about 8 seconds right now, which is the same as a goldfish. So that's the reason that Twitter is so popular, because you only have 140 characters, so you have to get your message out. You have to use strong call to action in order for people to see it and read it. Another reason that Twitter is so popular is because of the hashtagging feature. And I put on here, I thought that was a pound sign. Hashtags let you follow the content without following the individual or the organization. So if you create a hashtag for a chapter event, then when you click on that, it will tell you anyone else who has used that same hashtag. So you may be able to find members easier that way because they have included that hashtag in their tweet. We do recommend only using 1 or 2 hashtags. It can make it look really messy. It's difficult to retweet, and it takes up a lot of space. You only have 140 characters, so really setting something that's pretty short, even if it's just your chapter name or a name of a specific event. And once you create it and ask people to use it, be sure that you actually follow it and retweet people who are using the tag. If people feel like, why am I including this hashtag and taking up space because no one's even reading it, then they're not going to actually use that hashtag. So I am going to open up Twitter. Another thing that is nice, if you do have a chapter account, you can tag STTI in your tweet so that they have a higher likelihood of seeing it and, again, retweeting it out to their followers. So this is my professional Twitter account that you see here. And I tag STTI in things all of the time, and they do retweet it fairly often. And I also follow a lot of chapters, so then I can retweet their information out. So again, just trying to help spread the word on their behalf. So just yesterday, Kappa chapter STTI tweeted about their award, their grant that they have coming up, the deadline. Their hashtag is Kappa STTI. So if we click on that, it will also tell me anyone else who has used that same hashtag. They're also good about using the STTI hashtag too. Again, just trying to think of how people might be searching for content on the site. So all of these tags are actually hyperlinks. So then you can see anyone else who has included that tag. So even if I do not follow our President-elect Beth Tiggis on Twitter, I can see that she used the STTI hashtag here and included that image of Indianapolis when she was here last week. You can also follow STTI's Twitter account. So if you don't have any chapter events coming up or content that you want to share with your followers, just to make sure that you have a constant presence. That's the thing about social media, is it's happening all the time. So there's a lot. There's always information being shared. So at least once a week, you want to have something. If you're going to have a chapter account, you want to keep that fresh. So sometimes you don't have a thing to tweet for your chapter. You can come and see what STTI has tweeted and then retweet it yourself. So you can see here this post from February 6th, 21 people retweeted it onto their page to help share the word of that. Any questions about Twitter? Few nice things. There are some changes coming soon to Twitter. In fact, a few of these have already been rolled out since Leadership Connection. Now you can, when you're replying to a tweet, the names will no longer count towards your 140 characters. So even your replies have to be 140 characters long. If you include any media attachments like photos, as we mentioned, social media posts with a photo do much better than those without a photo, and Twitter was counting that against you, and it's no longer going to do that. It will let you have, again, more room for the words that you need to say. They will also be enabling the retweet button on your own tweets. So you can actually retweet yourself now. So if there's something, maybe since the last time you tweeted this, something has changed, or you changed your mind, or something you'd like to add, you can retweet yourself. That wasn't an option before. And you will no longer have to put a period in front of a username, which was basically making sure that all of your followers saw the tweet instead of just that person's followers. So they're changing some of that functionality soon as well. And then a couple other sites that we just wanted to share a little bit more information about, because we do see chapters use them, and STTI also has a presence. So just to tell you a little bit more, one of those is LinkedIn. LinkedIn also is a pretty even split between female and male users. Social media, again, is mostly, there's just a lot of different people using social media all across the world. And LinkedIn actually has more people in the 65 plus category in terms of age than any of the other social media sites. So that's one difference about LinkedIn from the others. On LinkedIn, you have individual profiles, which really lets you highlight your experience, your professional strengths. Your connections can give you endorsements and recommendations, which is great if you're trying to find a job. Job hunters can look at your profile and see all of these people who have endorsed you or who have written a recommendation for you. And really the quickest way to edit and enhance your profile is to click the Complete Your Profile button at the very top of your profile. It will encourage you every single time you sign in. It will ask you a series of questions of, have you taken any specific courses that you want to share? And it's really trying to help you get the most complete profile so that you can be marketable to others who might be looking to hire you. So here's a snapshot of my profile. So it lets me list out my experience, all of my background that I have, the types of opportunities that I might be interested in. I put joining a nonprofit board on there, so if someone came across my profile and saw that, then they might have something in mind that they want to tell me about. causes that I care about, skills. These are the skills that people have come to my profile and said, I think she's good at this. So leadership is one that's on there, public speaking and training, which is great because that's my job, so I'm glad people endorse me for that, and those types of things. So you can determine the types of buckets that you want to see that you think you're good at, and people can say yep, or they can add their own. And then LinkedIn also has a groups feature, which is nice for people who are in the same industry or with similar interests to share content, to post and view jobs, to make business contacts. Really, LinkedIn is all about job opportunities and finding that next job and being the best at your job as possible. You can find groups to join by using the search feature on the home page. It will also, as you join groups, make suggestions for you, or you can create a group. So if you wanted to have one specific to your chapter, or again, just for a specific class, for the college alumni, a lot of nonprofit organizations are on there and very industry specific. I actually am going to pull up STTI's LinkedIn group. It is a very large group. There are currently almost 17,000 people within this group. There's a lot of articles that are shared about the nursing profession, how to, here's one, nurse entrepreneurship, correlates of success. There's people talking about webinars that you can register for, and you can see these are happening pretty frequently. This one's just from 3 days ago. There's someone just yesterday posted this article, and there was a comment just within the last hour on that particular article. And even though this is a group and it's fairly large, again, you don't have to be a member to join. It's a social site, so it's helping to position Sigma Theta Tau as a leader in the nursing profession because of all of these members of this group who are sharing all of this wonderful information. So the same can be accomplished for your chapter using these various methods of social media. Another nice thing about LinkedIn, you do have the ability to post jobs online, to advertise. So if your School of Nursing has something coming up, you might consider posting those types of ads here. And then it shows up in someone's jobs you may be interested in category. So when I sign in, it's looking at all of my experience, it's looking at my title, and it's providing jobs that it thinks I might be interested in. So a lot of these are because I have the word training and engagement and specialist in my title, so it's looking for those types of keywords and it's providing that back to me to say, hey, you might be interested in these particular jobs. Some additional tips just for you as chapter leaders that I think might be helpful. If you do have a personal presence on LinkedIn and you know that other volunteers and other chapter leaders in your chapter are on the site as well, consider writing a recommendation for them, especially if they've gone above and beyond the call of duty. If someone stepped up to serve as treasurer when the treasurer had to step down, or if they've just done a really great job, you can endorse them or write a recommendation for them, and that can go a long way in providing that personal connection and something that's really valuable to that person who has given their time to the chapter. People can also see who has looked at their profile unless the viewer has edited their privacy settings to hide this information. That's just something that I always like to point out because I don't want people to think I am being creepy because I've looked at their profile. So I've turned that off so it no longer tells people, Michelle Coburn has been looking at your profile. And then another social site that I wanted to point out, because it is very popular, is Instagram. This is an app on your phone. It's available on the Apple App Store and in Google Play. There is a link that you can get to your account from the website, but I don't believe you can share photos, or it's not as easy to share photos that way. Some statistics for this, you can see more than half of the people who are using the site, there's 430 million people, are aged 18 to 29. How it works, it's pretty easy. This is all about photo sharing. So in the way that YouTube is about videos, Instagram is all about photos. So you take a photo with your phone, you put a filter on it. There are all kinds of cool filters that people can choose from. Really makes you feel like a professional photographer. Then you share the photo with your followers. So for me, on my Instagram account, it's much more locked down than my Facebook account because I share photos of my child on there. So I make sure that everyone who's following me is a close friend or family only. Whereas on Facebook, I'm more so trying to communicate and connect with more people who I don't necessarily, I might not even know them personally. So I try to share my personal photos on Instagram only. You can also use hashtags to find similar photos and to follow other users, similar to Twitter. So if you're following a hashtag only, so if you have a hashtag for your chapter events, you can follow it on Instagram to see those photos that are being shared without having to follow individuals. So one that I pulled up just because it's fun, that's pretty popular on Instagram is Pugs of Instagram. And so these were just some of the photos that came up when I searched for that hashtag. So it's a whole community of people who they post the photos of their pug and tag it so that other pug owners can see the cute photos of the other dogs in the area. And then just to show you what STTI's Instagram account looks like, these are some photos from the International Nursing Research Congress last year. So people were tweeting about it, they were using Instagram to share photos, they were posting about it on Facebook, and all of this made it easier for Sigma Theta Tau headquarters to find people who were there because they tagged it using that hashtag. So they're able to then collect all of those photos or to gram them in this instance or retweet them so that people can see what a wonderful time people are having at this particular event and might be more inclined to go to the next event when it comes back around the next year. So we've talked mostly just about the sites themselves and kind of what they offer. Just some additional considerations for you as a chapter. The traditional who, what, when, who will be responsible for monitoring and posting content to social media. You might consider if there isn't anyone who has the capacity as a chapter leader right now, maybe you could have an intern, or if your school or university has any type of web or IT students, they might even be an intern for your chapter because that's something they can put on their resume. So just considerations like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's a chapter leader, or who, you know, it could be someone who's trying to build up their resume in that area. Then you need to ask yourself what platforms will be used and what will be posted. So who's going to be preparing the content to give to this person to post to our various platforms? When will they post and when will they check for questions? So that's something, as I mentioned, several of us are administrators for the STTI Facebook account because just earlier this year, Kaylee in our marketing department went on maternity leave, and so that allowed all of us to answer questions while she was gone, to make sure that those questions were being answered on a timely basis. So those are the types of questions you need to ask yourself first before setting up any accounts. And then something that I've put up on the screen here, this is just kind of a sample plan. This you can talk about when your chapter talks about your strategic planning. So you have a goal. In this instance, we want to increase attendance at our chapter events during the fiscal year. Then we have a timeline. I started with the biggest event for the chapter. It's the 25th anniversary, and I just made up a date there. Obviously, 2015 is 2 years ago, so maybe 2018. Your call to action. We have several different calls to action depending on the audience. So you can see as you go across, then when we get to audience, delivery method, responsible party, I also added a name/password category so that for our non-members, we're going to reach them on Twitter. And the publicity committee is responsible for that, but if something happens a year from now and I need to sign in as the president of the chapter, I need to know what the name and the password is for that account. So just putting everything down in writing and assigning responsibility to someone specifically, and then making sure that the password's written down so that other chapter leaders can sign in as necessary to answer questions, or if you have a publicity committee and then they're all sick and no one knows how to get into the account, it's documented somewhere. Some fun ideas just to try and think about how you frame yourself in the social world. So using the 25th anniversary concept just as an idea, the publicity committee is going to sit down, determine frequency of posting, who's responsible, what the message will be on each platform. You could do something fun like 25 facts in 25 days. And so for 25 days, there are going to be all these facts about the chapter that are posted. Sharing photos of the first members or officers, the chapter charter and things like that. Developing a hashtag and making sure that everyone's aware of it. You can include your chapter name. I have 25 years young. Ada is 25, just as examples. They're not too long, and you can share that with everybody to really have a campaign around that specific anniversary. Some additional tips just for social media in general. Use the help section of the sites. They have videos, they have descriptive paragraphs, they have, you can type in your specific question and it matches you up with the appropriate resources to answer your question. So don't feel like you have to go through STTI staff, because a lot of times, for me personally, I might not know the answer and I go to that help section of the site to find the answer. So if you want to embed your Facebook group on your chapter website, they have a whole description on how you can complete all of that. You might also, if you have more than one account, you might research platforms that allow you to manage multiple accounts in one place. One thing that I use, it's called Hootsuite. And it lets you kind of schedule, here's a message and this is the date and time that I want to post it to this specific account. I only use it for Twitter because that's the only account that I have a professional only presence. My Facebook's personal, my Instagram's personal, whereas Twitter is all related to STTI things. So I have that Hootsuite account only connected to my Twitter account, and it lets me pre-schedule all of those messages. So if I know that the IRS Form 990 is due August 15th every year, starting in September, I can schedule those messages so I don't have to remember to sign in every day to get that tweet sent out. And then remembering to remove or delete accounts that are no longer sustainable and are no longer active. So it's okay if you try it out and it doesn't work, or if someone can't maintain it anymore and you just don't have the volunteers. Obviously you have more important things to focus on, but it's really important to delete that account so that if I am a student, I've heard about the chapter and I go and search for them on Facebook and the last thing is from 2011, I'm going to draw unfair conclusions about the chapter and think that nothing has happened since 2011 because nothing has been posted since then. So just making sure that if it's not something that can be maintained, that it can be removed so that it's not out there in a public forum. Which leaves us with about 10 minutes left for questions. As I mentioned, this session was recorded. It will be posted in the All Chapter Officers work group. So if you want to share it with other chapter leaders, please feel free to do so. I'll try and get that posted this afternoon.